Dedicated to you, dedicated to you, dedicated to I wanna let you know, girl, that you know that I am what you do. So let me reassure you, my life will be purposeless without you. If I want it, I'm gonna ask you, flying to be better, challenge me for the better, what you dedicated to you.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Make It Make Sense. Yes, honey, we coming back again because Monique and her husband Sidney, they went on their own platform on their YouTube channel and they trying to get DL Hughley together, honey. I was like, oh Lord, this is round 4. Now they putting out more information on DL from what Monique is saying or stating. You're soft. You're really soft. But let's go and get into it, people. Why not?
A contract and a deal memo.
May I help you with that? I'm
Yes,
sorry,
Daddy.
my lord.
Yes.
Please forgive me.
Go on, take your time.
So, as not to free style, I pulled up the difference between the two. This will give you it in a nutshell. A memorandum of understanding, or the deal memo that D.L. Hughley presented to the people. It says, a memorandum of understanding is a document used to articulate an agreement between two or more parties. The document is likely to detail the scope of the agreement, the length of the agreement, and the state how the agreement can be terminated. A memorandum of understanding is often used before parties are ready to make a formal, let me repeat that, a memorandum of understanding is used before parties are often used before parties are ready to make a formal agreement. Parties can use a memorandum of understanding to outline expectations and responsibilities before a full agreement has been reached. Unlike contracts, however, a memorandum of understanding is not intended to be a legally binding agreement. As a result, parties can typically avoid the agreement with no legal consequences. Let me repeat that. And I'm going to break it down in layman's terms. When they say, unlike contracts, however, a memorandum of understanding, which is what DL provided the community with,
Yes.
is not intended to be a legally binding agreement. By legally binding, that means that if you were to try to sue for what was not on a memorandum of understanding, there are no signatures. It is not legally binding. And the agreement, because he made the statement, oh, that came from his company. Well, the MOU came from UTA, which, as it says here, unlike contracts, however, a memorandum of understanding is not intended to be a legally binding agreement. As a result, parties can typically avoid the agreement with no legal consequences. However, that brings you to what Monique presented you with, which was a legal binding agreement. See, one of the key differences between a memorandum of understanding and a legal contract is enforceability. That means the key difference between a contract and a memorandum of understanding is enforceability. Contracts are created when two or more parties intend to create a legally enforceable agreement. Parties enter into contracts after an offer has been accepted with considerations. Parties to contracts are legally obligated to comply with the terms and conditions of the agreement. I'll repeat.
Hey.
I'll repeat. It says, parties to contracts are legally obligated to comply with the terms and conditions of the agreement. If a term or condition of a contract is breached, parties will face legal consequences. So, what does that mean? The documentation, hence the performance agreement that Monique provided you with, is a legally binding contract, which is the reason why, if you looked at the bottom of the contract, you saw initials on both sides, one from the promoter, one from our side. When he said this came from their company, it did, because the artist must have a standard contract she provides as a courtesy to the promoter, because they won't know what it is that they need in order to utilize her services for hire. We wanted to get that granular and specific because DL was comfortable speaking in generalities. And generalities allow things to be hidden, such as the truth.
You know how you keep watching our stories over and over and over again, and the only thing that changes are the faces because the stories remain the same? And if you want our babies to believe that a deal memo is anything close to a contract, what are you feeding us, DL? You know that's a deal memo. You can put anything you want to put in the deal memo. That's what you would like. And D.O. Hughley has yet to still show his signed contract. And this is something else that I want to address to us. When I see the comedians having these conversations, it makes my heart hurt for y'all, because it's making me understand how they are able to exploit, take advantage, use, misuse. I understand how it's able to be done, because when y'all start standing up and you're fighting against a sister that's saying you've got to treat us fairly. You're fighting against a sister that's saying I earned that position as headliner. Didn't nobody give it to me? I earned that position. You got a sister that's saying, listen, I'm, as D.L. Hughley would say, oh, she just selfish and thinking about herself. Anybody that's selfish, D.L. Hughley, would not take a 13-year hit in their career. See, if I was selfish, I would have taken the $500,000 that Tyler Perry tried to offer.
To be quiet about it.
To be quiet and make it go away. If I was selfish, D.L. Hughley, I would have had the conversation privately. See, I know the moment I say it out loud, I know the ridicule is coming. I know it's coming full force, but you know what? I don't care. Thank you, baby, because I want to address something.
Kick it.
And I want you black women to hear what this black man is saying. I gave Monique a chance. D.L. Hughley said he gave me a chance. Well, here will be the question. To do what? What did you give me a chance to do? You weren't the promoter. No monies came from you. Who are you that you would be giving me a chance? The arrogance that you could speak like that I gave her a chance. To do what, DL? And then if you're going to tell it, please don't mislead people. DL and I were scheduled to do another show together. I want us to address it, and I want y'all to do your homework. If you remember the Super Bowl show that happened in LA, there was a time that D.L. Hughley was on that show. And then there was a time that he just wasn't.
But you were the what on that show?
Headliner. I was the headliner on that show. All these other times that he speaks about, it never came across our desk. So stop trying to pull the wool over the community's eyes. And what I would ask of the community, what I would beg of us, stop being so quick to jump on the bus whichever way it goes down the street. Be brave enough to listen to what it really is, not your emotions, not what you, listen to the facts of what it is. Go back and listen to what I said. I feel sorry for your family. I feel sorry for your wife. Listen to what I said. Listen to what I said when that man said, would your husband, or that woman said, would your husband rather sleep with these people? Ricky Smiley, would you be offended if someone said that about your loved ones? How about you, Roland Martin? Would you be offended if someone asked you that about your wife? How about you, Kim Whitley?
And he was also speaking in reference to wanting to give Monique a chance and his people had warned him against it, as if he had some sort of prophecy seeing into the future ability. Let's clarify why he felt that way.
Why did he feel that way?
See, there was a show that he was doing on TV One called the D.L. Hughley Show.
Yes.
They reached out to me to ask if Monique would come on the show. I informed them, per her statement to me, that she would not be coming on the show.
Come on. Okay. Thank you. Okay. You got it, sweetness? Okay.
They then came back and asked why. I said to Monique, would you like me to tell them? She said, please do. I expressed to them, Monique did not feel comfortable going on a show with an individual or supporting a man that she thought was a friend that would blindside her with the question that was ultimately putting our people down. So it was at that moment that DL knew there was a problem between Monique, but if you notice, he never made mention about that.
Why not?
See, we get into the specifics because we don't have anything to hide.
I'm sorry, Daddy. The way D.L. Hughley is playing it is as if I just came from out of left field and just jumped on this man. No, D.L. See, what you can't erase are the interviews. You can't erase your words. Those are your words. You can't erase calling me mentally ill. You can't erase calling me all of these slick things, brother. That's what you said. And now you tender. Now you trying to trick our community. So when you talking about I turn people against you, no, dear, you do a fine, mighty job of that. What happens is when you get your own medicine, now we sit here. And I want to address something else, Daddy. When I listen to people like D.L. Hughley, and it says, this daddy thing, that's so weird. And I listen to some other people. Isn't it weird that they got us thinking love is weird to each other?
In addition to, they failed to mention that I referred to her as
mama. So we have bought into people having enough reverence and honor and respect to call each other mama and daddy, and they've made our community believe that that is weird? Really? So again, when I say I feel sorry for your family, I stand on what I said. Because anytime you're pouring into the community to show your spouse how much reverence you have for them, how much love and honor, and y'all have bought into it is weird. And I want to address it because I see some people writing down, oh, that go her husband again. That go, yes, there he goes again. God damn it. There he goes. Here he will stay. And because it looks so unfamiliar,
right,
to see a black man standing with his black wife, because it looks so unfamiliar to us, some of us sweet babies will try to pull it apart. And when y'all are saying, Monique called DL, I have no reason to call DL Hughley. If DL Hughley would like to talk to me and my husband, there's an open invitation. We would love to come on the show. But see, I didn't open up the door to this. D.L. Hughley opened up the door. Now you want to run and hide and close it, and now you want to talk and act as if you have been victimized. That's where the shame should come in. That's where the shame and the embarrassment should come in. See, there's no interviews y'all can find of me speaking about D.L. Hughley. There's not one interview in the history of interviews that you will find me speaking ill about D.L. Hughley. Not one, but there are several out there of him speaking of me.
And others.
And you're right, Daddy, because it ain't personal. And others. You run your mouth. And now I would like to address the dog and your dad, because I always want to make sure I'm playing folks fairly. See, really read what was written in reference to you having a support dog. Really read it, my sweet babies. Don't let a person like D.L. Hughley cloud your head on what he wants you to know. The words are there. The words are a person that would need a support dog is a person that should never speak ill about anybody because they have their own concerns and issues that they're dealing with. Now, when you speak about your children and your family gave you that dog because you were really close with your dad and the love that y'all have and you want you, son, don't mess with people that's not messing with you because you're going to get your ass handed to you. I hope your dad shared that with you, so as you're walking the dog full of love in reference to your dad that is respected, I hope you take the principles and the morals and the values that Mr. Hughley fed into you to say, treat people like you want to be treated. Now, you treated Monique like you wanted to be treated. You talk shit to that baby for years, and then Saturday night, you got tender. How does that make sense for all the comedians that's watching? What are we teaching them, DL? Are we teaching them it's okay to act that way? For the older veteran comedians that got involved into this conversation right here and y'all started speaking foolishly, what are we telling the babies coming behind us? See, that's important to me. I know for some of y'all, it ain't important to y'all. You got yours, they got theirs to get. It's important to me what they see. It's important to me that they did see that contract. I'm glad you showed that contract. Sweet babies, if you are your own business, you should have your own contract. I don't know what kind of business DL does, that he would have a deal memo and say that that is a contract.
And you now know, for those who didn't know before and those who heard, the difference between a deal memo and a legal binding agreement. That deal memo is not enforceable. So why would he give you a deal memo that is not enforceable in the court of law? Look it up for yourself. Versus showing you a contract, a standard contract that has been written up by our attorney. And please understand, in your 32-year history, how many times has this happened?
This is the first time.
And we understand the promoter needed to grow a pair and tell DL what this situation was, because he got on the phone with our attorney and I and said he couldn't understand why DL's people were acting the way that they were acting when we don't have a contract. I made a verbal commitment to him, but we don't have a written contract. Okay? Now, I don't know about you in 2022, because we don't have horses tied up to a stick outside for them waiting for us, where a handshake and your word supposed to mean something. The man said, I didn't have a contract. Now, he could have been lying. But DL provided you with a memorandum of understanding. A memo is what it said. You read it. So when you get a chance to see it, compare it, listen. Don't be afraid to go with what's right, because who's popular.
All right, you guys, so leave a comment and let me know what you think.
Okay. And go check out Layla Lynn. That's where I got my information from. That whole drawn out dissertation speech that Monique and Sidney had to give to the world, are the ones who really care about this situation. You know, over here we just being nosy as hell. So we had to bring it to the people, okay? We had to bring it to the people, and it's y'all, okay? But make sure y'all subscribe, like, and share my videos, but mostly subscribe, okay, guys? And I will see y'all next time. Good night.